we're going to bring a bit of color to our off-road EV concept. First, I decided to go back into my thumbnail sketches and evolve the design a bit. As you remember, the essence of this design is this hexagonal tube shape. In some of my earlier designs, the windscreen was almost dead vertical. Here I've decided to lean it back, so I've essentially taken that tubular fuselage and cut it off at more of a 45-degree angle to give it a much different gesture, a much more sporty, athletic stance, high speed. Now I've taken my favorite thumbnail, blown it up, now I'm doing my cleanup overlay. Now I'm mapping a ground shadow. As you can see, I've drawn some arrows to represent the direction of sunlight as it projects the planned shape of the car onto the ground. It's very important, especially on an off-road vehicle, because how you draw the shadow gives the viewer a strong indication as to the stance of the vehicle. If it's not done correctly, it can look like an oil slick. I'm working that ground shadow directly into my graphic layer. Now I'm adding my second graphic layer to help define the contours of the front bumper, the tire and wheel details, and a deeper ground shadow. I'm also using my second graphics layer to give the glass a hint of reflectivity and transparency as I start to map out part of the interior, and blending the ground shadow into the environment on the far side. Now I'm adding the body color. Now, unlike the Italian sports car, I want this off-road vehicle to have a little bit more of a muted look to it. So it's not going to have a pearlescent finish. It's going to have a bit more of a military grade bluish color to it. There's not going to be as much of a contrast of warm and cool or sky tone and earth tone because it's all blue. So it's going to depend much more on just overall contrast, just like a grayscale image. I have added a little bit of a yellow glow around the light source. Now I'm adding additional detail to define the contours of the front bumper. Some reflectivity on the glass, and adding more depth and sky tone to the windscreen. Now I'm adding some shadow to the front bumper to further define the contours. Adding my tire and wheel details, some highlights on the tops of the tires, plus an indication of the tread and the spokes. Now I'm adding some additional white highlights to further define the contours of the front bumper. I'm adding additional definition to the headlamp detail. Now, since the bottom half of the side glass faces so much towards the ground, it's getting actually an underlit appearance, so I've given it an additional white glow. Now I'm going in with white and black pencil and just really adding some crisp definition and final highlighting. To add some little splashes of bright orange in some of the functional elements throughout the vehicle, just to give it this splash of color and modernity in an otherwise drab military grade medium blue. And that is my proposal for a high-speed, off-road capable electric vehicle concept.